This is the Poddy with Serene
and Pearl.
Get it right, Poddy.
Que paso, you gorgeous lovers of food and freedom. Get in here. It's the Trim Healthy Podcast, and we're glad you're back. Gals, what's going on in your world?
That was awesome. Yeah. Did you know que paso was going to come out of your mouth?
No, I just improvisioed.
And that's why we are never going to have you tell our people the tagline for the Poddy. For Trim Healthy on a whole, which is greater health to every home.
Wait, when did that
But if
happen?
we'd say, Dan, would you please weave that into your introductions? We would take away your whole shtick, your whole improv. You would never say que pasa.
I called Serene this morning. You know, we have had this tagline. What are we all about at Trim Healthy Mama?
Actually, we haven't had it like we've had it out.
But we birthed it.
We've birthed it in our soul.
We're like, well, what's the essence of Trim Healthy Mama really? And we came up with, well, really, it's greater health to every home. This was a few months ago we realized this, right? What's our tagline?
He hates it. He's hiding behind his mic.
No, but hold on. Let me tell you the secret behind this.
I don't care if it sounds good to you, Dan.
No, I'm just wondering.
No, but this morning I called Serene. And I'm like,
it's giving me bad vibes.
No, I'm good. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting.
Okay, let me tell you. I called Serene and I said, Serene, do you think we should get Danny to share that tagline every time? Like, you know how podcasts do, really good ones. They kind of incorporate who they are in the intro. And Serene said, no, Pearl, you'll ruin Danny. And
was I feeling you?
You nailed me.
Can you imagine you having to say, greater health to every home? It'd be like putting a bow tie on you and a hanky in your up pocket.
No, I feel known. Yeah, I would if I had to say it, it would be, I would trash it every time.
You would, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like, it's the Trim Healthy Podcast. Greater health to every home. It'd be at least that bad.
But do you like it? Do you like it, Danny? Do you like it?
I actually wrote one on the way over, which is crazy. We're talking about this.
You were driving on your motorcycle.
I was on my moto.
How do you even think?
Just as I start to up the hill, I start to kind of think about things. And
did you have that like light bulb moment when I was crossing to come to the Poddy?
It was
you
just
were coming
before.
up and I saw you with your hand in the air doing this.
Yeah, I was fist pumping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Serene because I was jamming to my music. You couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
But
so what was your tagline for us?
I just had this tagline, eat the earth.
I'm going to hide behind the mic.
No, it's actually, I get it. I get eat the earth, but
maybe it's just for a product.
You've
though,
got
right?
a lot of
like
pregnant
it.
women who get cravings and they actually eat dirt.
And to me,
They do?
it's like plant food only.
Wait, reverse. They eat the
called
earth.
pica.
They eat the dirt.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Some women actually eat clay pots.
What?
My children that came from Liberia, all of them loved to eat the earth. They liked certain clay, and one in particular liked it so much. That's my cherish. And she would have me go to the African food store where they actually had little clay candies.
This
they
is
weren't
a
sweetened.
thing?
They were just balls of hard earth. And they would suck them, and they were bitter, and they loved them.
How do they?
They're lacking minerals from, well, mine were from the orphanage. They lacked minerals, and they...
Because now she doesn't have that, right?
No, she
and some
craved
women
it.
who are pregnant, it's a lack of minerals, or they're seeking a certain mineral that comes from the earth.
And so in Africa, they will just eat the dirt.
Well,
off
I
the
don't know.
ground.
Not normal, wonderful, healthy Africans that have a garden in their backyard and a man to hunt them some food. But these were orphanage children.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is okay. But what about the?
But they sold it at the African food, so there must have been enough hungry children
thing.
somewhere that they made a product.
Or you it's like Vegemite that we grow up with it. You get a hankering for things once you do it enough.
Yeah,
Or-
I tasted it. It was called porta. It
Or
was really
tahine,
kind
or
of
sweetened
interesting.
condensed milk for my people.
Yeah.
So, but there's women in America eating clay pots,
Pregnant
Yeah.
woman.
It's a thing.
chomping them with their
Licking
teeth.
bricks.
We're talking about hardened clay.
Yeah, where it's a problem when it comes to that, but they do have some
Usually
women
they
do have
go for
the,
counseling.
they do have the desire for it. They want it like suck on a brick or something.
What?
Yeah. Well,
We're sidetracked.
Yeah,
No,
that's true.
We're here.
No.
I had, one of them is it's a craving for ice. Like
Where's the bell?
I usually hate ice. I like all
Is this
my,
greater health to every home?
Yes, but I'm just going to tell you.
I feel like greater health to every home is going to be
it's
our
funny.
new bell.
It's funny how you're allowed to go off on tangents, but I'm not.
No, because now we have a tagline. We never had a tagline before. Before it was just a free country. Now it's not a free country.
Okay, but just let me tell you
Please
this,
don't give
because
Serene
a lot
that.
of women are going to relate to it. Don't ever give that to Serene.
No,
Not
I pay for
Serene.
his check as well as you.
She's your boss.
I don't know why she thinks she is today.
No, she said that I could be the one to bring the tagline. Now, there's authority that goes with that responsibility.
That's true.
Fair.
She
That's
gave
fair.
me
She is so
authority.
puffed
I'm
up
wearing
right
the
now.
hat.
Yeah.
I'm the tagline girl.
What greater health to every
That's
home.
it. It's going to be my job every time we get on this podcast. Greater health to every home.
I mean, is that official? This is going to be the tagline.
Yeah, it's been that way.
And where are we going to see it? Is it going to be on every book?
It's going to be on a website. We might
It's
drop
going to
it
be on this
occasionally.
potty, that's for sure, if I have anything to do with it.
I do want to say that, let me finish this really interesting story. When I was pregnant, I was usually low in iron and I craved ice, chomped on it all day. Usually I hate ice. I don't even put it in my drinks constantly. I remember going to have my baby and when I got into that bed, all I saw was this big thing of ice they had prepared for me and I wanted to dance with glee. It was like seeing the ice was like the best present in the world. It's so weird what you can crave when you're missing something.
Well, ice isn't weird at all.
Well,
But clay
for me
pots
it
are.
is. Yeah, it's a little
For sure.
step above.
I'd say if we have a little box here and it's labeled weird, we would put eating clay pots right in that box.
Yeah, we could.
Mm-hmm.
So we've brought no greater health to every home so far, but we're about to.
You see, I'm going to be good from now on because I have borders and I'm the one that's responsible for inflicting them.
Oh, okay. Inflicting wasn't the right word choice, but anyway.
I was there, but I didn't.
For instructing them.
Yeah.
Not
even a word.
Enforcing them. Thank you, Mr. Nate. He's always the man of words.
Instructing.
Look-
That's like Shakespeare. He made up words.
Hey,
Do you know it's double trouble if we both have computers out? I just felt like
Yeah.
I wasn't cool.
Yeah, this is
Because
terrifying.
Pearl was sitting here with her computer and I'm like, she looks like the smart one. So out comes my computer. I actually have things to say.
I really think that today is going to be pretty powerful because we're kind of going to turn things on its head. And I want you to share this with others because this is what women need to know. I think we've all, I wouldn't put myself out there and say, well, I was never deceived. Yeah, I was deceived too. I think so many women are deceived about a scale number, about what light means, about what lean means.
Well, that is the key. It's everybody wants to be lean. I want to get lean. I want to be lean. And I feel like that's what you and I are wanting to figure out here today and to get a definition for today. Because a lot of people, I think, don't have the true definition of lean. And that's where, Pearl, I think you're going into with this word light.
Yeah, I
lean
think
means
that
light.
so many women, me included at some points, and I'll share part of that story, get into a lot of trouble and we harm ourselves and we harm our metabolism because we seek light, especially when we feel like we're stuck and it feels like we can't move that scale. So sometimes then many women start to do extreme things and they do see the scale move and it's like, oh, finally. It's like the gold at the end of the rainbow, you know? And they see the scale move and they're like, yes, I'm doing it. This intermittent fasting's working, or this carnivore is working.
But what if the scale moving isn't necessarily a good sign at all? I mean, eventually it can be a healthy sign, but sometimes the scale moving in a downward direction can mean harm.
I would venture to say, Serene, that many times it's harmful to us women.
Even when there's actually some fat loss involved, there's still a lot of harm with that number going down.
So the idea is that if fat needs to be shed, and for many of you listening, that's what you want. But I need fat to go. It's inflammatory. I'm not feeling great.
And we're agreeing with you.
Yeah. So there's a way to make that happen. But it can't be done with most of the things circulating right out there right now, the current diet trends. And Danny, you've called them something before. You've called them microwave methods. And I love using that term. Yeah, you have no idea because,
Nice.
there's something called ADD. But
It's a medical condition.
you termed that. You're like, hey, these are microwave methods. And nobody wants to slow cook anything, but you take a piece of meat and you slow cook it and the end result is absolutely incredible.
Everything slow cooks well.
Yes.
Done. Well done.
I mean, you said many times the scale going down is because of bad reasons. For me, the scale going up, I would say 50% of the time or more is because I'm eating poorly, not because I'm working
Yeah,
out well.
so your goal is to make the scale go up,
I want
right?
it to
Because
go
you want to
up.
be a larger Danny. But
And it
you
will
can-
if I eat ice cream.
Again, you can do it in the ways that harm you. So
Yeah.
you can make the scale go down in ways that harm you. You can make the scale certainly go
Easy.
up.
So what
in
does that
ways
mean
harm you.
actually? The scale isn't really the true measure of healthy body composition.
What's the measure, ladies?
So let's find the good. And then today we want the true definition of lean. What we're all going for, lean. We need the true definition. It's just like people needing the true definition of love. You know, society tries to give them a definition of love and it's elusive, right? Because what they think it is, it's not. And so they go chase the feelings, the butterflies, the fireworks, when really love is a responsibility and a decision and choices. And that's really the same with lean. We have an idea of what it is, but that definition has led, and especially that's like the light scale, the scale going down, but that definition has led us into sabotaging our health.
You
And
know,
we want to bring the right definition to lean today.
I like what we had Joel Green on this podcast, and I like what he said. He said, you know, there's amazing things that happen with weight loss on your first trip to the well, right?
Yes.
It happens. Usually, like people going along eating standard American diet, and they're like, okay, I'm going to rein things in here. I'm going to do something. So they do the something, and wonderful things happen on their first trip to the well. They do lose fat. Their inflammation does go down.
And then he says they write books about that first trip to the well, that big honeymoon experience. It's
Yeah.
like, this is the way. And then everyone gets on the bandwagon for their first trip to the well. And it's like, then the big trend becomes the thing. But then he's like, 10 to 15 years later, let's go and ask that author. Let's
Yeah.
go and find all those people that are in 10 to 15 years later. There's a whole nother story going on.
But like the first trip to the well, you know, things go as we think they should. And like your analogy with love, Serena, when you first fall in love, you feel these neurotransmitters. You can actually feel that flutter in your chest, you know. And
doesn't mean it's wrong if you still feel it, because I still jolly well feel it.
No, but I'm saying as time goes on, love is different. Love is a choice. Yes, of course, you can still feel things. But love is not all about those neurotransmitters. The strong ones last about 18 months, and then something else takes over, which is commitment, which is let's verb love right here rather than necessarily feel love.
You got to make
right?
the bed.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah,
make
but
the bed and be up to sick kids and all that.
After you've verbed love for a while, though, the neurotransmitters come back. They're different. They're deeper. They're better than fireworks.
Yeah.
They are like deep rumbles of amazingness.
Right.
They definitely, I believe feelings come.
I agree. But let's just, you know, we can say that they're a little bit different than the first trip to the well. And I think when we talk about lean, it is different. It is, like you said, a set of decisions. It is a bigger understanding of long-termness, of lifelong sustainability. And
It's not just a number.
and it is truth. And today we're going to get into the truth of what most women are kind of doing to themselves as they lose weight and how it needs to stop.
Because muscle, lean muscle mass, lean muscle tissue, that's the substance of lean, you know, and it's dense. Muscle is dense and it weighs, and it's a good thing that it weighs a lot. So we just think of your daughter, Pearl.
Yeah.
She is,
Autumn?
yeah, she is so lean. You would not want her to lose any fat off of her
Right.
body. She's so lean. But so you would think that she was very light.
Yeah, but she's not.
But she's dense because of the muscle that she naturally has, because she's so athletic. And so it's not about a number, because if she was to get on the scale and then, you know, maybe, what's that word where you compare to other a woman her height that would just maybe as lean but didn't have as much muscle, she'll think, oh, I have to lose that number on the scale. I have to lose weight. So, but her body composition is so healthy, and it's going to keep her sustainably lean for the rest of her life. And that's what.
Yeah, so I think what we want to start off
lean.
here is with what we've said before, but we need to get it into our heads, right? So after the age of 30, we all lose muscle mass year by year. Unless you do the really nerdy things that we talk about to stop it, and then you can. There's a course of action where you can break what happens naturally, which is you lose muscle mass, you start to lose hormones. Then after the age of 40, the muscle mass goes even more quickly. When you get to menopause, late perimenopause, it is a freight train.
Because you've lost your anabolic hormones.
So when you lose this muscle mass, especially as a woman, men keep it. They still lose it, but most men keep it compared to women, they keep it around more. Women lose it more. Okay, so, women talk about how I'm in my late 30s, 40s, and everything changed with my metabolism. Why? Why did that happen? Yes, you could say, oh, my thyroid's out. You could say, my mother-in-law came and I threw my food eating out the window. But there's another reason. Probably the biggest reason is your body composition is different. You now have more fat to muscle. Maybe you're even the same weight as you were, but you're having to eat less because your body is different to what it used to be.
And why are you having to eat less? Because you have lost the very tissue that is filled with the hungry cells that eat up our glucose, that eat up the fuel in our food. So when you've lost your metabolism, then where is it going to go? It's just going to go on stored on fat.
Yeah. So this is a recent study that came out. It's kind of been blowing the minds of people. We included it in our new book, Trim Healthy Wisdom, but I'm just going to bring it here too because not everyone listens to our podcast, even though they should. So a recent study came out, was published in Frontiers in Health. It was titled The Paradox of Obesity with Normal Weight, a Cross-Sectional Study. So it analyzed the body compositions of over 3,000 so-called healthy weight people. So if you go to the BMI, which Serene and I don't put a lot of stake in, there are kind of a couple of merits that you could use here and there, but we don't really like it, okay? But obesity is the big marker for obesity, or the milestone is over 30 BMI. So they took people under 30. They took people actually with even low body weights, and low is 18.5 to about 20. That's considered low. They were in this. They took people with normal body weights up to 25 BMI, and then they took people who were just considered overweight, 25 to 30. No one really obese was counted in this part of it. But they wanted to find out, even though they might be normal weight, what's going on in their body. Do they actually have some sort of obesity, but that's not showing in their scale weight? So surgeons that do bariatric surgery now look at body fat. That's their marker for obesity. And when you get to, because what they've discovered is when you get to 25% body fat composition, which means your lean body mass has gone down because that fat has gone up. The diseases of obesity, that's when they come in. It's this number, 25%. That's when you get insulin resistance or prediabetes or full-on diabetes.
There was a study too that was talking about how it was actually a study on men, and the men that were in the least amount of muscle, that was like they had the third least amount of muscle, that they were 75% more likely to die of a cardiovascular disease.
Yeah. And it lowers your immune system.
55% more likely to die of cancer.
Yes.
And there was an overall mortality rate that was...
So this 25% body fat in turn means you have a much greater risk of, what is it called? What is it called? That syndrome.
Metabolic syndrome.
Metabolic syndrome. All cardiovascular risks go up. Basically, you turn into the modern person who is facing these, high blood sugar disease, but you may not be overweight. So they wanted to see just how many people are in this group walking around not considered obese, but maybe they're obese. It blew my mind.
Yeah,
it shouldn't have. So close to 40%, almost half of the women with a so-called healthy BMI.
So they were light.
Of just 18.5 to 24.9, light, were actually clinically obese with over 25% body fat. A quarter of the men were as well. So then they want to see, okay, well, if that many people are in this group, how many people are in the just overweight group, which most of America is. Most of America is overweight or actually obese. So they found out that over 88% of the women that were just overweight were actually clinically obese, and over 50% of the men.
And what are the markers for obese versus overweight?
There's more fat than there
25%, yeah, obese. Okay. 25% of your body is fat compared to muscle.
Okay.
So
because our life is so sedentary, and because we eat so many spiking carbs.
And because
that
we don't
run
have
amok
enough
with our
protein.
hormones, and we don't have enough protein.
So
and
this-
people think, well, America has enough protein. Well, they're addicted to these sugary, devitalized carbs, so they don't get as much as they think.
Or their protein is only in the form of, or mostly in the form of very fatty inflammatory meats like burgers that aren't your grass
Which
fed.
styrates that muscle with kind of like streaks of fat in it. So they're not very lean muscle. The fatty muscle, like if you were fattening up a cow for a really fatty marbled steak, you know, the muscle tissue has all these strips of fat through it, streaks of fat.
You know, because I know we've heard from thousands of women, hundreds of thousands of women, and maybe, you know, they've lost a certain amount of weight, but they're still in that perhaps overweight category or just normal weight, but a little bit, you know, heading towards that overweight, but they can't get down any further. And they're like, what is going on? I just hit 40. I can't move this fat.
So the hit 40 is pretty interesting because they're hitting the point where their hormones are starting to be in decline,
So
serious
if we're
decline.
buying beef for burgers, should it be lean?
I mean, you want to have a pleasurable meat occasionally that feels a little greasy occasionally, fine. But I think for
fine
the
with
most
that.
part,
Ground
if we're
beef is-
constantly considering our protein to be some greasy hunk of burger
Would
chuck,
you consider
yeah.
beef to be greasy and
Well,
no,
if it's
not
higher
necessarily.
fat, yeah. I mean, there's something about a nice marbled steak that you can have on occasion, but we're talking about day in, day out. You don't want heaps amounts of grease.
But can I bell it back?
Yeah.
So you're 40
You
and the
can
woman
physically.
is So you're 40 and the woman is starting to say, hey, something is different. It is because the hormones are starting to be in decline. But it's also because many times by 40, people have had a few trips to the well because we live in this sedentary culture where everything's press a button to wash our clothes, press a button to order a meal, you know, press a button to do everything. We often, and in our terrible Western diet, we often, you know, become overweight. And so we get on some tangents. We get on some extreme diets. We take these trips to the diet wells. And each time we take a trip to the diet well, those are extreme, like 30 days shreds, you know, or
well, not always. Just too low calorie.
Yeah.
Just taking out carbs.
Or just thinking, I just want to just go, I just want to go as light as I can, or I just want to skip breakfast every morning and things like that. That diminishes muscle. And every time you lose weight in a non-healthy, non-protein focused, non-resistance training focused way, not a non-nerdy way, just losing weight in the regular diet way, you are losing substantial muscle every time. So every time you get thinner, you're actually getting fatter. And so that's why by 40, it's not just the hormones. It's not just because you're getting older. It's because you're getting less muscle.
Yeah, so you might be lighter on the scale, but you might be fatter in reality. And that causes you to have a slow metabolism. Even if you're light, you can be skinny fat.
If we're not looking at the scale as the correct instrument to gauge our health, what should we look at?
So the ultimate really is what they call a DEXA scan, where you're looking at muscle mass compared to fat distribution. However, I feel that women, and this is what we wrote here, I'll read something.
Please
First
do.
of all, I wanted to read this. We believe that the percentage of women over 35 not aware that they have this adipose obesity is probably even higher than the study revealed, because in that study there were a lot of 20-year-old women too.
Oh my.
And it really doesn't get bad until we're over 35. So
Yeah.
can you imagine what the reality is? But of course, then we go into, you can change this course. But I want to say this is what we said. Let's be clear that we are not suggesting that women should seek low body fat percentages.
No. In
Body-
fact,
yeah.
under 20%, you're getting osteoporosis.
Yeah. So less than 20% is very harmful for women, not so much for men. Also, it needs to be taken into account that some of us are just genetically wired to carry a bit more fat. Endomorphic women. They carry more muscle. They also carry more fat, and it is natural for them.
And it can be very extremely beautiful.
Yes, it can. So we don't believe women should get into a specific number chasing for body fat or body weight. I think that's very, very harmful for women. Serene and I are different. You're a mesomorph. which is kind of the athletic type. I'm an ectomorph, which is kind of the very small bones and hard to gain muscle, but I have gained some. And sometimes we're skinny, but we can be skinny fat. And then there's the endomorphics, which just, they have just a larger frame. They carry more muscle. They carry some more beautiful feminine fat layers. And that's the way they should be. But there is truth. There is research showing this 25% body fat is where things start to break. So you could be a woman and you're carrying 27 body percent fat, but your body is just naturally suited to that. And you've got muscle there too. So you're beautiful and you're great.
Yes.
So we don't think, hey, 25%, you got to get under it.
No, not at all.
But we think there's this unique thing for women. We're talking about women here, where it's unique for them where their body fat and muscle mass should be. And for me, I have never felt like I need to go get a DEXA scan and get scientific about it.
You can kind of feel
You can
it.
know.
I mean, especially when you pinch.
Yeah. For me, all I know is this, and I'm really kind of taking over here, but I'll share my story. When I got into late perimenopause and my hormones dropped, and here I was, this, founder of Trim Healthy Mama with Serene. I didn't realize I was losing body mass, but I was, because my hormones were dropping and I was losing muscle mass, because as your estrogen and testosterone goes down, your muscle mass goes into free fall. Well, I was like, why aren't my meals working for me anymore? I used to be able to do lots of crossovers because I was at goal weight, and now crossovers weren't working for me. I was gaining fat.
I remember you calling me up on the phone saying, I am freaking out. I'm doing everything that we teach women. I'm doing all the hacks.
Yeah.
And I'm having to push back my breakfast further and further and further. What's going on? I'm having a freak out moment.
Yeah. So what it was I was turning in. I wasn't there. I know I wasn't above 25% body fat because I was just too thin, but my muscle mass to fat ratio was heading in the very, very bad direction. Despite me eating really healthfully anti-inflammatory foods, I wasn't eating nerdy protein. I was having some protein, of course.
But you were starting to get real low calorie.
Yeah.
To compensate.
I just wasn't eating enough.
Which doesn't feed your muscle.
So, I got to the state where I was like, this is not working. And it was freaking me out. So, Serene and I really dug deep into this. What is happening to me? What is happening to these other women? Well, it's our body compositions.
And I was looking at you and you were looking frail. And I said, Pearl,
frail,
wake up. Wake up. Do something different or you're going to be one of those wizened old ladies.
But my jeans were hanging on my bum. I always had a pretty good bum, and the jean was just flapping with air. There was nothing to fill it out. And yet my waistline was kind of tight. So I was putting on a little fat, but it was in the wrong places, not on my bum. It was on my belly. So I'd lost my hormones. Well, yes, I brought my hormones back through hormone optimization, but not everyone can do that. A lot of us can. More power to us. But what I did was understood that I need to get my lean body mass back. I had to become a burner again. And that's why Serena and I are talking about being a burner. And it's not quick. There's no microwave method that can make it happen. What it is getting nerdy about protein at every meal, including our carb meals, because carbs are a protein-sparing macronutrient, and strength training.
Oh, yeah.
And guess what? 2-3 years later, I'm a burning body. I don't have to do low calorie anymore.
You do crossovers.
I get my breakfast and I'm just, I don't have to push my fasting window.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to eat. And even though I don't look like a big built woman, I don't have Serene's arms, I have built my bummy back. I have built my lean body mass back, and I'm burning up my meals, and it's just so fun.
So the definition that we would say for lean that we're trying to bring today is lean means contending for muscle.
Has to,
because weightlifting is the secret to any goal.
It is an anti-aging secret too. And so we've been talking about leanness, and I would like to go into a little bit about how muscle speaks to our whole entire body. It doesn't just speak to our metabolism. It speaks to our endocrine system. It is the largest anti-aging organ in the body. It's an organ because it secretes peptides and hormones called myokines that actually communicate with the liver and brain and other organs of the body, and they give it anti-aging signals. But the interesting thing is, do you know those myokines will not express, they will not release unless you're actually contracting the muscle through actual exercise and through protein synthesis, muscle synthesis, where the muscle is triggered, like what we've taught you in the nerdy protein with having enough lutein and having enough resistance training where you're actually stimulating those muscle fibers. You don't get the myokine release unless you are actually, the muscle gets turned over through the process of the proper protein and through the process of the proper stimulation to the muscle, like resistance training. Isn't that amazing? So we're actually foregoing these wonderful signals. We're foregoing these wonderful hormones for our muscles that are actually telling our body, stay youthful, stay young. This speaks to our immune system amazingly.
When you say foregoing, you mean when we don't strength training?
When we don't eat proper protein and we don't strength train, we don't get that myokine release. Our muscles just sit there and atrophy. And also, unless we properly fuel this muscle, this lean muscle tissue with amino acids that are coming from protein, our body, our immune system needs amino acids. Every organ needs amino acids. It's not just the muscular system that need them. And so what's our body going to do? Our body's going to just pull from muscle. So that's also what's causing this extra pull on our muscle tissue. It's not just our anabolic hormones are going. It's not just because we've had too many trips to the fat well and we have less muscle overall, our metabolism is tanked. It's also because we're not fueling it properly. So we're actually cannibalizing our own body armor to keep our immune system functioning, our organs functioning.
Dude, when you see it as cannibalizing.
It is the body eating itself. I mean, it needs amino acids constantly, especially as we get older, because we've got more wear and tear to mend. So the body's like, amino acids, I need you. Where am I going to find you? Oh, I'm going to find you in muscle tissue. That's where you're stored. So chow, lunch, it goes and eats its muscle tissue.
Do you think most of our audience, or just the coach class, if you will, because even if they're not official coaches, there is that coach mindset human being that accidentally coaches all their friends and coaches their kids, and they're the types that commit to things. But do you think our audience, by and large, is hearing this and implementing change today?
I woke up wondering that, because I knew we were kind of going to speak on this. And I'm like, this is all coming out in our book. I don't know when people are listening to this, but it has to be now. It's so...
That's why we want to start talking about it now.
Crucial. That women don't know what's happening to them, because they're thinking, okay, this whole thing, my metabolism's shot. I'm going to have to do that intermittent fasting thing. Okay, no breakfast. And yeah, they see the scale go down.
Well, they want to do the keto or carnivore thing, which is it pushes our cortisol through the roof. And what does cortisol do? Cannibalizes
muscle. So they see the scale go down. They're on their 6th trip to the fat loss well, because, they've done so many things, and then they feel shame, and then they're like, I just got to get down. This is not a good place for me to be. I just need to get the scale down, get some of this weight off. Not knowing that the weight coming off is not the weight they need to come off, because intermittent fasting, for every 3 to 4 pounds you lose, 1/2 of that is your lean body mass.
We don't want weight loss. We want fat loss.
Yeah.
We don't want weight loss. Fat loss may not look like a big, massive drop on the scale, especially at first. And, a lot of people might think, oh, this is exhausting listening to this, because I don't even have the energy right now to go through my day apart from resistance training. And apart from having to get in the kitchen and do the kind of meals that it must take to nurture muscle.
Some of them are out there eating clay
They're
pots.
They're just exhausted, right? Well, I've got some great news for you.
Let's hear it.
Do you know that skeletal muscle is the place where most of our body's mitochondria resides? Skeletal muscle. And so, our muscle produces ATP. Our muscle is actually an engine for energy. Not only to give our body the energy it needs to go through these kind of workouts, but actually when you build muscle, you build more energy machine in your body.
Mitochondria is where energy is stored.
You actually have more energy when you build muscle. And I've noticed that, because I remember when I first got in the gym, it did feel hard and it did feel a push. And I just had to be responsible and have a choice, because sustainable leanness to me was not just like that definition people have of love, like, okay, I just want to have the feelings. It doesn't matter if it feels tough,
Yeah.
right? So it doesn't matter if it feels tough in the gym at first and all that, because lean doesn't mean just about feelings and a scale. But I just want to finish the sentence. And I don't know where, because when you took that breath,
I know. I was
it.
like about to do a sister button.
Yeah, and then I'm like, and then I lost it. But what was I saying?
As soon as I talk, it will come back.
Yeah, it
You
will,
think
I
about it,
know.
because I was going to say this.
Oh, no, because what I've noticed now is
Proved it.
now that I've built muscle, now when I get in the gym, I don't worry about, is this going to feel exhausting anymore? Because the muscle provides the energy.
Well, the muscle wants it. You know, like that first set, you know, it might be like, ooh, what has it been, 9 years since I worked out? Oh no, just yesterday. Somehow I'm, you know, you have those days where your muscles are like, I'm out. But when you get into the second set is
Yeah.
where they're kind of like that superpower kicks in, and it's like,
Yeah.
wait, this is easy. And then you crave it. By set 3, you're like usually
So true.
by set 3, I'm like not wanting to stop. By set 3, I'm like, I need set 4 and set 5, but I already know that isn't productive, so I just don't do it.
Yeah, and I want to say a couple of things right now, because I know some of you are listening and you're not there yet. I remember before I had started bringing my lean body mass back on this wisdom journey, the idea when Serene said, I just got to get in the gym, and then I'd hear people talk about set 3s and all this stuff, and I'm just like, that is so not me. I'm not even, just let me go on a nice walk or something. You know, what are you guys talking about? I'm not there yet. But it doesn't have to be like an hour in the gym, and it doesn't have to be like set 3 and set 4. In fact, we definitely don't want you to exercise because that's an energy depleter. But doing enough is really important. And what is enough? You know, we've got on our Tribe Healthy membership, we've got resistant training that just starts at 10 minutes. What a great way to start, to just get your feet wet. I never do more than 25 minutes of resistance training. Serene goes up to about an hour, but she's a beast, you know. I think that we're all so unique, and if you're sitting there and you're feeling intimidated or overwhelmed, I don't want you to, because there is a path for you that is gentle, that is slow, that's going to take all the years that it needs to take, but you got to start it.
Hey, I didn't start where I am now.
No.
I did not start. And I was a wizened up little vegan when I, in the gym. I mean, I remember
we should call this Poddy wizened up little vegan.
I
Little
remember my
vegan.
ankles
My band
cracking
name.
and my knees popping, you know, and wobbling around with no balance, and just felt like I had nothing in the tank.
like a baby deer.
You know, I want to read something. It just really was powerful. Just talking about resistance training being an incredible weapon for anti-aging. And it was saying how this tool called resistance training, if you were expecting this tool to be cosmetic surgery, you know, for anti-aging and to keep us, you know, around, nicotinamide mononucleotide NMN or nicotinamide riboside in our supplements. Wow, that was a...
It's like you're speaking
I know I did not pronounce
Atlantean.
that properly.
Those
Or
supplements
even
are all the rage. What about them?
I knew about it, NMN, but I
Yeah.
didn't know about their long...
NR, yeah.
Yeah. Conventional cardiovascular exercise, aerobic exercise. If people think that's it, the conclusion that they're talking about here, they say, might come as a surprise. Yet the science is unequivocal. Regular strength resistance training induces changes in the brain, not just the body, from the micro level of the genes and the epigenome to the macro structure and function of hormones, bones, and organs. Yes, muscle is an organ. This surpasses any treatment currently available for slowing and reversing the process of aging.
Yeah, those NMN and NR, and I've looked into them, considered them many times, but haven't bitten the bullet and bought them. But you're telling me, Serene, they're expensive.
Oh, super.
And they work on the mitochondria, so they work on the energy part of your cells, and it's thought to be fantastic for longevity and anti-aging. But you're telling me that when I strength train, I'm turning those on anyway.
They're saying it's
More powerful. So, maybe I'll bring them in the future, but for now I'm doing the right thing. I
Yes.
want to say it really is simple. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. I think there's 3 things that you could start on right now. And go back and listen to some of our Nerd Protein Poddies, our Nerd Protein Poddy 1 and Nerd Protein Poddy 2. Basically, in those we say you need 4 times a day protein fueling. if you're skipping meals, you're not getting that, and you're lowering your lean body mass. So this is why we are not pro intermittent fasting.
So skipping meals is trying to give you lightness and weight loss. Both of those things they're not even considering muscle. No. So don't even talk in terms of them.
Yeah. So really messing your metabolism, in other words. Making it very likely that you'll have to keep going back to the fat loss well over and over and over and get more extreme.
So it's not skipping meals, it's weight training and eating the correct meals.
Yeah, it's getting your protein in it. And what is enough? Science clearly says 25 to 30 grams is what you need to maintain your muscle.
Per meal?
Per meal. So that's, and about 4 times a day. You can't just say, well, I'm going to have 1 meal a day and I'll shove 125 grams in there and I'll be fine. No, as we get older, we can't utilize it all. We can't.
Your body gets rid of it, right?
So especially for us women, as we lose lean body mass, if you're in a place where you've already lost it, and you probably have, like where I was 3 years ago, little bit of lean body mass, probably striated with some fat. It doesn't work very well. It could probably take in 25 grams and do something with that. But if I try to even give it 45 or 50, I'm kind of wasting and I'm kind of throwing sugar into my bloodstream. So just get conservative. Do what you need, and then you can build up as you gain.
Well, how do you get
more lean muscle? You can take in more protein.
Promise that was a cherry.
And our Essential, and I'm not trying to, get it from somewhere else if you want to. I'm not trying to promote our product.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
But Essential is great because when you don't have muscle, you're going to have to build it, right? You can't build it without protein. But what Pearl's saying is true. When you only have a little bit of muscle, it can't really use a whole bunch of protein. So the best bet is to have protein fuelings every 3 hours.
And the Essential...
And Essential is great because it can be your protein. It's a protein that your body doesn't throw away. Yeah. It goes straight into the muscle tissue. The body doesn't say, "Oh, I've had enough." It can drink it all
and
in.
You can't overdo it.
You can't overdo it.
Freeform essential amino acids, such as an L formula essential. You could find another wisely formulated formula, but it needs a 3-gram bolus after your exercise of lutein rate. It is not going to be stored in your blood sugar.
And we're not talking about branched chain amino acids that have lutein in it, because they don't have all 9 essential amino acids. So make sure that your supplement has all 9, because otherwise you'll get the 3, but the lutein is the trigger and the others are very anabolic too. But if it doesn't have the other 6 to actually be the little minions that are going to build up the muscle, the body will have to break down muscle tissue to get the other 6. It has to have all 9 to synthesize muscle tissue.
Yeah, and we're getting nerdy now, but all we're saying is you need that. If you don't get that 25 grams and that lutein bolus, your muscle's going to keep cannibalizing.
Yes.
So protein intake, an egg is 6 grams of protein.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to eat lots of eggs.
And some women can't, because they're trying to lose the fat, and 4 yolks at every sitting is too much. So we
how
say
do we get our protein?
1 or 2 eggs, then chuck a bunch of egg whites in there.
Or have 2 eggs and then add one of our optimized supplements, like have a couple of tablespoons of our optimized whey that have these free-form EAAs in them, essential amino acids. When something is free-form, it's already broken down to its ultimate breaking downness, and it's not going to hurt your kidneys. Yeah, it goes straight to your muscles.
And we are not promoting here, this is the best form of protein, because clean whole foods is always the best form. We're saying it's a powerful tool to help you build muscles, especially when you're older, especially when you don't have your anabolic hormones zooming through your body, and especially when your muscles cannot take in full servings of protein, because they are wizened away. They're not hungry. They don't have big open mouths yet. But guess what? When you build a burning body filled with lean muscle tissue, my goodness, you could chow on 6 eggs in a row. I do.
But you're always
6. You don't do 6.
I can if I want to.
You can.
If I wanted to, I could.
Yeah, if you wanted
I do
to.
4.
Do you rocket it?
You could.
She could. Straight?
Her body is such a burner. I mean,
I'm just on whole milk
Serene
now,
has
eggs, rice, cheese, whatever.
Try and get in more calories because her body has become such a burner because she's built this lean body mass. Now, we're all genetically different. So she already started with an okay metabolism, but now it's very hot. My metabolism is really quite hot too now. hey, we've got that. We've got get your protein. The other thing is what
I
we've
just wanna
said
say
today
too
is,
that-
hold on, let me go to number 2.
Okay. Yes.
We're learning as we go.
Bell me.
Number 2 is do your strength training. And we're not saying don't spend an hour on the gym. And then number 3
Can I
is...
just talk about number
yeah,
2?
Yeah.
At least half of the age-related changes to muscle, bone, and joints, because people are like, well, I'm just getting older. That's why. No, you're not just getting older. That's why. You're getting older because those changes are due to disuse. Disuse. Because, I mean, we just had Joel Green here in the podcast cabin just the other day. He's 60. He had muscles bigger than any 18-year-old I've ever seen. So it's because he didn't stop using them.
Yeah. But now he's like, well, yeah, he's got them to this point where, I mean, you know, he strength trains like twice a week.
Yeah, it doesn't need much, once
Yeah.
or twice a week. So the point being is disuse. Let's
I'm
not
still
say,
at the point where I'm working
oh,
on my
it's
body.
just because I'm
lean
getting
body mass.
older. That's such an excuse.
Yeah.
Just because I'm getting older.
Okay, but let's not be mean.
No, that's being nice because
Okay.
I'm trying to cheerlead and say, hey, you've got this fight in you to
Yeah.
contend
No, I get-
for
yeah.
movement and power and strength. And in the Bible, I'm telling you,
What about?
the Bible, you know, I love that story of, was it
Joshua.
Joshua that says, I'm 80 now. Let me take the high country. I'm so much stronger now. I'm 80 than I was when I was 40. I have that fight in me. Do you have that fight that wants to say that same thing when I'm 80? Hey, I'm stronger now. Bring me some challenges. Bring me some challenges.
100%. My teen boys, they want to buck up, and I'm not going to get knocked off my balance. I mean, there's something in me that it's just intrinsic. I don't know the motivation. It's just maybe it's.
And people can say, Dan, they can say, well, that was back in the Bible and everything. They didn't have 5G back then and all this went depleted
5G.
and there's no hope for me, so I'm going to sit on my arse and eat corn chips. If you say the ARS, it's not a swear word.
I see.
Pearl
ARS.
taught me that. Yeah, Pearl taught me that.
Arse.
Yeah, it's only if you say AAS. That's
Arse.
bad. That's of the devil. But if you say ARS, E, or whatever, that's okay.
In our Christian culture, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I wasn't
ours.
In our
swearing.
cult.
I
Why?
don't
'Cause
care.
that's like
Take me off the prayer
Shakespearean.
list. I wasn't swearing.
Does it sound more King James?
Because I'll tell you why, though. I'll tell you
It's
why.
like bosom to
It doesn't matter.
another word. Bosom is much more...
Bosom.
I don't
Okay.
care because God is the same to every generation. He is a good God. He's a God that provides. He's Jehovah Jireh. And maybe they did have that beautiful environment back then. But we have science. Science isn't all evil. Science is creativity. It
None
comes
of
from the
it's
heart
evil.
of the Father. And I'm telling you, He's given us incredible things to delve into plants and isolate the matters like bioidentical hormones, like peptides and things that give us that ability to contend and feel strong when we're 80.
Preach.
Get your hanky out.
Yeah, wave the white hanky, would you, and wipe the sweat off your face. Dampen it.
Yeah.
What do we got? What are the 3 things we've got? We've got nerd protein fueling. Get that minimum of 25 to 30 grams 4 times a day, baby.
Don't stare at the scale.
Get your strength training on and don't stare at the scale. Don't go for lighter. Go for stronger. And I want to say this. We are not seeking being Mrs. Incredible Hulks here.
No.
We are not seeking...
I don't think I look freaking big.
You don't. You've got
Yeah.
really nice arms, Serene, but you don't look freaking big. You look freaking feminine. We are not seeking a look that sometimes you'll see on a magazine with the shredded...
That's really hard to
The
get for a
shredded
woman.
belly.
They're probably taking some androgens.
Well, to do that, they have to get really low in body fat for the 6-pack and 8-pack to really...
They go on that almost waterless diet. They dehydrate themselves and all they eat is chicken breast and broccoli.
And it's not healthy and it tanks their adrenals. So we're
Yeah.
not about that. But we're about celebrating beautiful feminine fat layers. And we all have different amounts of them, okay? But there is the healthiest you. And the healthiest you, I would venture to say, has more lean body mass than you have now. When you build it back, and don't expect a quick fix. There's no microwave method that's going to work. But as you slowly build it back over time, give yourself 5 years, it's going to be an epic transformation of you becoming a burner of food again. Those blood sugar issues are going to go away. Why? You'll have lean body mass, which uses your blood sugar. The reason people have blood sugar issues, unless it is a very specific genetic thing, is lack of lean body mass.
Yes.
Why? Your muscle is what uses your blood sugar.
It's so true. And I just want everyone out there to just do a burning party. Burn those shoes that you used to wear on your trips to the diet well. Like you're never going to go back there. You're not taking that journey anymore. You don't have to because
The
that
extreme diet
fat loss where you were just going on those extremes where there's intermittent fasting and keto and carnivore
Plant-based.
or plant-based and all this stuff and just low-cal, miserable HCG diets. I don't know. They're not even around anymore. But I'm just saying, all of that, burn the shoes that you walk to that place with. You don't need to. You're going the happy, exciting, long, slow, sustainable road of the true definition of lean. And that's
and you can still
lean
shed
muscle
fat
tissue,
with it. I mean, you
a.k.a.
know,
muscle.
it works perfectly. This is why I'm so excited, and this is what a whole new book is about. It works perfectly with the foundations of Trim Healthy, which is, hey, celebrate one fuel at a time or put them together, whatever is best for your unique body. And then do the 3 things. Protein, nerd it out. Strength, train. And don't seek lighter because it's going to hurt you, girl. It's going to hurt you. And then if the scale needs to come down, it will on its own. It will be a beautiful side benefit, but that's not going to be your focus.
And for guys too, if you're one of Danny's special 17 men, I'm telling you, it's going to hurt you. Muscle is what's going to keep that pot from coming, right?
Yeah, do you have that word pot in America? Because we use pot for pot belly in Australia.
pot belly, we call it.
Yeah, pot belly.
Yeah.
Or booty do.
Yeah.
Booties, your booties. What
No,
is it?
booty
It's
do.
going to, you want them to be pecs, not moobs, right?
A
Yeah.
booty do is where your stomach sticks out further than your booty,
Booty
do.
do, yeah.
Yeah. We've taught this.
We have.
Can I close
just
us out?
forgot it.
Yeah.
Yeah, please do.
To America and the rest of the world, we thank you for listening to the Trim Healthy podcast, where we're wishing greater health to every home.
Oh. I was about to have to do a PS to that and say that, and you just did it.
We should have shut up, just ended the podcast right there.
Okay, full
Do a
stop.
slow zoom on that.
Yeah,
On the editing.
that was great.
As soon as I pop to camera, just start slowly zooming in.